各位同学们，大家晚上好，欢迎来到我们今天的 Recruitment 海外研究生院校云分享会活动。在我们今天的直播中，我们依旧非常荣幸的请到了4所优质的海外大学的招生官，为我们带来他们所属学校的精彩分享。他们分别来自 Suffolk University 萨福克大学、Sky Savannah College of Art and Design 萨凡纳艺术与设计学院、Fordham University 福特汉姆大学、Wake Forest University 维克森林大学。在这场分享会中呢，同学们不仅可以了解到每所大学他们拥有的优秀专业和项目，还可以了解到海外学习、生活和工作的真实面貌。接下来我们将依次邀请每所大学的招生官逐一上台，为我们带来精彩的分享。每所大学呢都会有15分钟的时间来介绍自己的学校。在分享结束后，我们也会向大学提出一些我们收集到的大家最感兴趣的问题进行发问。这些问题主要包括国外的学习、生活、工作这3大方面。当然，我们也非常欢迎各位同学们能向我们这些经验丰富的招生官老师提出属于你们自己的问题。好了，那么接下来让我们赶紧进入到今天第一所大学的分享吧。首先让我们欢迎来自 Suffolk University 萨福克大学的 Scott 老师为我们带来第一所学校的精彩分享。Let's welcome Scott.
Hello, how's everybody doing? Thank you very much. Yeah, so I'm Scott, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about Suffolk University. I'm a current MBA student, and I'm also an admissions counselor. Next slide, please. So a little more about me. There's my email right at the top. I encourage you to reach out to me. I am more than happy to help you out. I've been with Suffolk for over 2 years now, and again, reach out to me. I love helping international students. So next slide, please. So some quick facts about Suffolk. We were founded in 1906. We are privately funded. We have a little over 7,000 students, and at the graduate level, about 1,200. We have 25% international students, and in the business school, that's actually around 30%, and 64% women throughout the school. In terms of faculty, we have over 50% international business school faculty, so that really speaks to our international business lens that we teach through. Next slide, please. Accreditation, yes. So I think the most important accreditation to look for, particularly for business students, is AACSB, so the Association to Advance Collegiate Schools of Business International. This is one of the more important ones, and again, it lends to an international approach. Since we're in a global economy, it makes sense that you would be looking for that sort of education. Next slide, please. So where actually is Suffolk University? Here's a map of the United States, and you can see Boston in the northeast up there. So we'll go to next slide, please. And this is zoomed in a little bit, so essentially the northeast of the United States. And you can see Boston with New York being about a 4-hour ride, and DC about, you could take the train in 4 hours. We don't have high-speed trains like you guys do, but you could still make it happen. Next slide, please. So this is downtown Boston, and this is our campus. So this is Suffolk's big selling point, is the ability to tap into all the firms in the area and really make sure that you get your hands dirty while you learn. So we are right in downtown. The financial district is right to the right, and we're also on Beacon Hill, which is where the state government sits, and Government Center is where the city government sits. So we are really right in the middle of everything, and leverage that as much as we can for students' outcomes. Next slide, please. So the 3 pillars of a Suffolk education are as follows. So experiential learning, as I've been talking about, really ensuring that you get your hands dirty and get experience within the classroom or within your program. So we do that through flash consultancy projects with firms in the city. And we also do quite a few internships and practicums. Many students can waive out of them if they want, but many students also see the value in them, particularly being in downtown and having access to all of these institutions. So it lends to better outcomes. Global in scope, as I mentioned, AACSB accredited, many international students, many international faculty. So having an internationally rooted curriculum makes sense, and nationally diverse faculty and student body. So although it's international, people are coming from everywhere, which is really nice. And allows you to get different perspectives on things. And outcome-based, as you saw, we have a little over 1,000 grad students. So the programs are fairly small and allow for really individualized attention and a focus on your outcomes, which is the bottom line. We do not just want to hand you a degree and say, see you later, go find a job. We work with you throughout your education and make sure that you have the ability to network so that your outcomes do end up being better. Next slide, please. So a little bit about Boston. I've learned throughout my MBA what an amazing city Boston is in terms of business and also culture, frankly. So the main clusters in Boston are technology, finance, and healthcare, and then the intersection of tech and healthcare and biotech, and finance technology. So if you're interested in any of those areas, Boston would be a good place to land, and particularly Suffolk, given its location right in the middle of the city. Next slide, please. So we have many programs. On the left-hand side, you can see the business school programs. And then on the right-hand side, you can see the College of Arts and Sciences, with all of those available programs. We also have dual degrees, which I will talk about next. So next slide, please. So I'd like to highlight the MBA dual degree options because they're quite advantageous for international students. So the three in the middle here, the STEM designated at the MBA, MSBA, MSF, and MSM with the dual degree, they allow for an additional 2 years of OPT if you plan on staying in the US. And also in order to get the second degree beyond your MBA, it only requires an additional semester of study. So for many students, it ends up being worth it. You get 2 degrees by only adding a semester of study. Next slide, please. So the Suffolk MBA, it's 14 to 20 courses. If you have a business background in undergrad, you will likely get many of those courses, those core courses waived, which is why you see the 14 to 20. Many available concentrations. I think we might be up to 20 now at this point, actually. So I need to update these slides. But corporate finance, fintech, business intelligence is a very popular one at this point, strategic management. Next slide, please. Also, keeping with Suffolk's pedagogy, travel seminars. You go for a week to London, Germany, Las Vegas, Silicon Valley, Brazil, maybe home, Singapore, and you go with 15 of your classmates or so and 2 faculty members and do flash consultancies for the whole week. So a lot of people say those are incredibly rewarding, and I encourage students to look more into those. Next slide, please. So financial aid, we do offer competitive merit aid awards. You do not have to apply separately. So if you're admitted in your admission letter, you will receive your financial aid package or your merit aid package. And this is often based on previous academic performance. So we treat international students the exact same as domestic students in terms of merit aid. So it's very easy. Again, you don't have to apply separately. If admitted, you receive it in your letter. And next slide, please. So yeah, Boston is our major selling point. We're right in the middle of it. We really leverage Boston, and it's also a great city just to have fun in. Lots of museums, lots of history, great food, many parks. So I encourage you to look deeper into Boston and see really what it has to offer for you and in your career path. Next slide. All right, great. Finished a minute early. Look at that. I was very efficient today. And yes, I'm happy to waive your application fee by attending this session. Again, just feel free to email me. I'm happy to help you out through the process in any way that I can. So do not be a stranger.
All right, thanks for your answer, Scott. So that will we're gonna jump right into the Q&A session. I'm already seeing the students ask a question here. The students ask, is dual degree harder to get than single degree?
So I would say no. It really depends on your preference. So the main difference is that it extends your program in terms of length. So you will be staying an extra semester, and you do have to be accepted to both programs. So when you apply for a dual degree, you're accepted to the MBA and, for example, the Master of Science in Finance. But beyond that, they're not necessarily more difficult or anything like that. It's just an extension, essentially.
Okay, cool. And okay, we're gonna wait for another student ask a question. And before, we already prepared some interesting question for you. So the question is, graduates able to find positions with firms that will sponsor my visa?
Yes, yeah. So this is also why you want to be in a big city, because there's just more firms, there's more jobs, right? And more big firms willing to sponsor international students. At Suffolk, because you're working with these firms both inside and outside of the classroom, students tend to do very well when it comes to getting sponsorship. And part of that is because of the way that we teach and really make sure that you build a network in the city throughout your program so that you have access to all of these different resources. Also, Suffolk has a lot of alumni in Boston because we're so centrally located. They don't tend to go too far outside of the Northeast. So having access to them is also very important and lends to better outcomes for students.
Okay, and last question is student ask, how long the extensions takes?
How long do extensions take? Yes. So I'm guessing the question is how much longer does the dual degree take, which is 1 semester. So because we're able to cross-list so many courses between, say, MBA and marketing, you use all of your MBA electives in marketing, and then you only have 1 semester to essentially finish your marketing degree. So the way that we've structured it makes it very easy. And it just makes sense for a lot of students as well, both fiscally and just in terms of their goals. So I encourage students to look into those. They're not that popular, I've noticed. Outside of Suffolk, as you look at other programs, there's not as many dual degrees. So I think that's something that we really do well, is structure our programs in that way.
All right, cool. Thanks for your answer, Scott. So that will be all for your session. Thanks so much for bringing us these opportunities to learn about Suffolk. Have a great day.
Thanks,
Bye.
everybody.
好，非常感谢 Scott 老师为我们带来的精彩分享。那么接下来呢，我们将有请到来自 Savannah College of Art and Design 塞凡纳艺术与设计学院的 Coco 老师。Coco 老师，然后如果同学们呢对刚刚上一所学校的老师呢还有想提问的，也可以把你们的问题打在聊天框里。我们现在也在等 Coco 老师上线。我们看到每一次我们的每一场活动，我们带来的学校都是非常有名的，在世界上都是非常优质的海外学校。然后我们现在再等一下我们的 Coco 老师上线。同学们，如果对上一所我们的 Suffolk University 还有一些提问的话，大家可以直接把我们的问题打在聊天框内。我们看到美国萨福克大学的招生官张老师呢，也是在聊天框里头。好，我们现在也是连线到了 Coco 老师。Let's welcome Coco。你好 ，Coco 老师。
你好，你好，可以看到，可以听到清楚吗？
清楚，你可以开始了。
OK， 好，同学们大家好给大家先做一个自我介绍，我的名字呢叫 Coco， 今天呢代表的是美国的萨凡纳艺术和设计大学 SCAD 来这里给大家做个宣讲。那首先的话，我们先看下一页。SCAD 呢，在全球一共是有3个校区，分别呢是在美国的佐治亚州的亚特兰大，也就是佐治亚州的省会城市。然后呢，就是在佐治亚州的 Savannah， 就是佐治亚州的第一个省会城市。然后呢是在法国的 Low Cost， 也就是梵高作画向日葵的那个地方。然后最后一个校区呢，就是我们今年非常受欢迎的线上校区。因为疫情的原因呢，我们有非常多的同学今年都选择了在国内呢上这个线上的课程。那我们现在目前来说的话，一共有的实体校区呢有3个，然后线上校区是有1个。这4个校区的话，你可以随意的转换，拿到的文凭呢也会是一致的，不会因为你上的是线上课程就会写说是线上的文凭。我们来看下一页。然后现在呢，我们学校的这个学生的总人数呢是15000人，来自美国的50个不同的州和全球的100多个不同的国家。然后一般说到这个的话，同学都会问，那中国学生在这个我们学校里面占的这个比例有多少？大概的话在8%左右。那如果你是需要读语言的同学，可能会感觉说，哎，好像看到很多中国学生，但一旦你进入专业课之后的话，就是看到的美国同学或者是外国同学占的比例会大大提升。那下一页呢，主要是说我们学校有100多个专业。我们呢是全美这个艺术类大学里面专业最全的一个学校，所以我们有100多个专业和70多个辅修专业。然后我们看下一页，有很多同学都会问，特别是家长也会问说，现在全球的艺术类大学这么多，那 SCAD 到底有什么不同之处呢？我个人呢觉得是有2个方面是不同的。第一个方面呢，就是 SCAD 喜欢做很多的活动，然后第二个方面呢，就是 SCAD 呢是一个非常注重学生就业的一个学校。首先呢，我们来说一下活动。这个图片上面呢，就是我们学校会举办的各种活动，主要呢给大家说一下右上角的这个活动呢是一个 TV Festival， 就是我们学校经常会办的这个电视节电视剧的一个节日。那像我们最近邀请的呢，就是侍女的故事这一个美剧的制作团队，包括他们的演员团队到学校来和学生做了一个分享。那大家看到右下角这个图呢，就是我们学校不论亚特兰大校区还是萨凡纳校区都会有的一个时装周，都是我们学校自己的时装周。那除了我们现在图上看到的活动以外呢，我们学校还有比如说 Animation Festival， 就是动画节。那动画节我们最近邀请到的呢，就是迪士尼的这个花木兰团队来给我们分享了一下当时他们制作花木兰这个电影动画的时候的一些故事。然后除此之外呢还有一个就是我们的电影节。那电影节呢是对于我们员工来说是最高的福利了，因为我自己是在亚特兰大这个校区上班的，所以说我们有些时候办电影节就可以看到很多明星。然后今年的电影节我们邀请的呢是复仇者联盟里面那个就是那个黑人，他有一个眼睛戴了个眼罩的那个人，我们是邀请了这个人来给我们这个演员叫做 Samuel Jackson 来给我们做的这个电影节。那往年的话我们邀请过比如说 X-Men 里面的教授还有金刚狼的演员都来我们学校做过电影节的一些交流。 然后下一页呢，就是我们学校的这个 Sky Pro 这个项目了。那么就要说到我们学校特别在乎学生就业情况。那 Sky Pro 这个项目呢，其实就相当于说它和 internship 有点不一样。internship 呢是你在读完了之后出去找实习，但是我们 Sky Pro 呢是在你就读期间就和各大行业的这些顶级的公司直接做合作做项目。那比如说我们之前呢和Delta 达美航空就做过一个项目，就是他们的员工的这个空乘的这个领结当时没有做好固定，然后呢达美航空就带着这个项目到了学校，找到我们学校不同专业的同学。我们呢首先要从 GPA 高于 3.85 的同学当中做一个选举，然后呢也需要层层面试，最后选出每个专业最优秀的同学组成一个团队，然后呢他们会组成一个新的班级。他们会利用1个学期的时间，一边是达美航空的工作人员来授课，一边呢是我们 Sky 的老师来授课，然后最后的话是在学期末的时候交出一个 Plan A、B、C、D， 然后由达美航空的人员来选，看说最后他们要选用哪一个 Plan， 然后最后呢是选上了一个 Plan， 然后呢当时也有一名中国同学因为参加这个项目，最后是直接被达美航空给聘用了。所以说学校其实这样的项目的话，每一个学期都有上百个，所以说学生是有很多机会去直接和企业直接在就读期间合作的，这个和你的工作签证或者 OPT 什么都没有任何关系。所以说这个的话也是需要在学生就业这一块来说做出的一些就是努力。然后我们来看下一页。然后刚刚我有提到说我们学校经常会办这个电影节这些，然后现在呢亚特兰大是被称为南方好莱坞，因为就是整个好莱坞的南移，其实像可能一些同学会了解的一个电影叫做《阿甘正传》，当时就是在萨班纳拍的。然后其实现在有很多的电影电视剧都在亚特兰大取景经常就是我去上班的时候，如果说路上特别堵的话，一般都是因为我们一般的话可能就是因为他们又在拍电影了，然后呢就把路给我们封了。然后像最近的话，我们学校附近拍过取过景的地方就是就是在我们学校附近取了景，然后有一些同学还去参加了这个电影的一些群演活动。那我们看下一页。然后这一些的话就是学校的一些同学参加的一些后期的制作有很多我们的校友都在这个电影里面。然后再下一页呢，就是我们学校新开的专业。学校呢会每年根据市场的需求去开一些新的专业，比如说现在这个VR、AR 这些技术比较流行了，所以说我们会根据这些社会需求去开出一些新的专业。再下一页呢，就是我们学校 Faber， 就是制作绸缎这一块的一个教室的一个欣赏。大家如果学这个专业的就会知道，这些都是行业里面最顶级的一些器材。然后再下一页呢，就是我们学校的一个也是一个展示。那这些都是 3D 打印机，然后如果学艺术同学肯定也是不陌生的。这些的话，针对我们在校的学生呢，都是可以随时使用的。然后再下一页呢，就是同学们比较在乎的一个排名问题。那我们学校的 Fashion 专业呢，是在 BOF 这个排名上面 ，Business of Fashion 呢是排名第1的。然后再下一页呢，就是我们学校的这个室内设计专业。室内设计的话，我们是学校最好的专业，连续7年呢，本科研究生都是全球排名第1的。然后再下一页呢，就是我们这个动画专业。我们动画专业在这个 Razukis 是排名第1的。然后再下一页呢，就是大家可能比较了解的红点奖。那我们今年的话，中国学生是有6个学生都获得了红点奖。那在校生的话，可能就是60多个，就包括美国的本地学生和一些国际学生，有60多个学生都是参加了这个奖项，然后最后呢是获得了一些奖项。然后再下一页呢，就是我们合作比较紧密的一些大公司，像我之前有提到过，就是我们学校是比较在乎学生的就业率的。像我们现在的话，依然保持着就是毕业生在1年之内找到与本专业相关的工作，或者是到更好的就是更高级的一级，比如说本科毕业之后学研究生的这种，我们占的这个比例的话是99%。所以说学校一直都是想去保持这个 record。和很多大的企业呢都有直接的就招人方面的合作。然后再下一页的话，就是给大家说一下申请这一块。申请的话，其实如果是说准备申请美国、英国的同学，肯定对申请都不陌生了。主要呢，我想说一下语言这一块，我们直接看到下一页。 其实 SCAD 呢是在语言方面有要求的，比如说我们的托福要求是总分85分，然后小分都要上20，然后雅思要求呢是总分6.5分，小分的话是阅读和写作要上6.5。然后因为疫情的原因，我们现在是都接受家庭版，而且呢，多邻国呢我们现在也接受，也是115分就 OK。然后如果说如果同学觉得说这个分数比较高，确实考不了的话，我们学校是完全接受无语言申请的。所以说我们在录取学生的时候，其实是不看你的语言成绩的。如果是说你的语言成绩不够，或者是说你是没有语言来申请我们的学校，你是会直接被录取，就是说看了你的材料之后，你会被直接录取。但是呢，你不会拿到 conditional offer， 你的 offer 就是被直接录进来的。你只是需要先去我们的语言学校读一下语言，然后你的语言读完之后，不需要再考雅思，也不需要再考托福，也不需要再重新申请 SCAD， 你可以直接进入到专业课。所以说你的录取结果其实和你的语言成绩没有直接的关系。这个呢是很多同学和家长可能都不太了解的关于我们学校的一些要求。然后我们再看下一页。下一页呢就是我们学校申请的时候的一个界面。我们是比较推荐学生直接用我们学校的官网去进行申请，而不要使用 Common App， 因为 Common App 会比较慢。如果是说 Common App 你申请了5所学校，其中只要有1所学校你的那个所有材料没有提交完成的话，我们是收不到你的这个提交的这个申请的，所以我们比较推荐直接用官网。然后再下一页呢，也是比较重要的一点，就是我们学校是完全接受 unofficial document， 我们会尽量的去避免学生在提交材料的时候提交了成绩，提交这个申请之后提交材料而导致申请延期，比如说我们久久没有收到你的成绩单啊之类的，邮寄到美国中途出现任何问题。所以说我们是完全接受在你申请阶段的时候用 unofficial document， 然后当你被录取了，也确定要来 SCAD 读书了，你再给我们提交你的 official 就 OK 了。然后我们再看下一页。这个的话就是提醒大家在交作品集的时候，一定要用你申请时的邮箱去注册你的作品集邮箱。然后再下一页呢，就是我们的作品集要求，这个的话大家可以照一张相，直接扫这个二维码呢，就可以看到我们学校对每一个不同专业的这个作品集的要求。然后再下一页呢，就是说到我们学校是有面试的，然后其实每年我们2、3、4月的时候都会到中国进行一个面试。那今年呢，因为疫情的原因，所以说全部改成了电话或者是网上直接通知结果。如果是说明年我们一切恢复正常的话，依然会把每个系的系主任带到中国来为大家做一个现场的面试，这样子大家是有机会见到系主任，然后也可以看到 SCAD 到底是一个什么样风格的学校，是否适合你。如果是说明年我们还是做不到的话，那可能就还是会以线上或者电话的方式联系各位同学。然后再下一页。然后基本上来说的话，今天所有的分享就是这些内容了。然后后面几页的话都是应该就没有什么重要的了。然后看看大家现在有没有其他的问题。
好，非常感谢可可老师的精彩分享。我们的同学呢也是已经开始提问了。这个卡比兽这位同学说，跨专业可以读艺术专业吗？他是非本科艺术专业的，但是小的时候学过画画。
完全可以的，因为我们学校其实是非常喜欢跨专业的学生的。因为跨专业的学生的话，你是已经有一些别的专业的一些基础，它其实是可以去帮你更好的去做一个 creative。因为艺术最重要的是可以就是你是有想象力和制造能力的嘛，所以说我们其实不会因为你的本科不是学的本专业而去拒绝一个学生，反而会觉得这样的学生可能会有更多的想法。所以说在你申请研究生的时候的话，我们会比较看重你的作品集，就说只要你有能力做出一个符合研究生要求的作品集的话，是完全不会去在意你的本科是什么专业的。
OK， 然后下一位同学呢也是提问了，说我还没有想好读什么专业，有没有什么推荐的专业？
首先如果这位同学申请的是本科的话，你完全不用担心，因为我们学校大一和大二呢都是学 foundation 的课程，就是我们国内所说的基础课。比如说你国内读大学会学一些比如说心理学呀、毛泽东思想、邓小平理论啊这种课程。其实美国它会有相应的，比如说美国它会像我们学校的话是大一大二会让你读英语啊，然后或者是读绘画1、绘画2，然后也会有心理学或者是公共关系管理这样的一些公共课。那你在读公共课的过程当中，你是可以去看到学校的 每一个专业楼是什么样的，然后可以接触学校每个专业不同的同学，去做一些了解，看一下自己喜欢什么样的专业。那我个人的话是比较建议，就是尽量去选一些你比较擅长的专业，就是不要去，如果是说你是完全没有绘画基础的，那就不要去尝试一些绘画基础要求比较高的，比如说插画这样的专业。但是如果是说你有绘画基础且有兴趣的话，其实任何专业你都可以尝试的。
好的，最后一个问题，有一位同学问：语言学校需要另加学费吗？
语言学校的学费和这个本科或者是研究生学校的学费是分开的，但是语言学校的学费是比较便宜的，基本上来说一个学期的话是3140左右，所以说它是有另加，就是单独分开的学费，不算在你的本科或者研究生的学费当中。
OK， 好的，非常感谢 Coco 老师为我们带来的这个精彩回答。由于时间的关系呢，我们今天的分享到这里就结束了。如果同学们还对学校十分感兴趣的话，也不要忘记下载学校的 PPT 进行更详细的咨询。谢谢 Coco 老师。
好的，谢谢大家，
拜拜。好了，接下来我们将有请到第3所学校的招生官上台，他是来自 Fordham University 福特汉姆大学的 Lawrence 老师。Let's welcome Lawrence.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Lawrence Murray, and I am the Dean of Admissions at the Gabelli School of Business at Fordham University in New York City. Next slide, please. I am here to talk to you about our variety of specialized master's programs. As you can see here on the screen, we have a couple of different verticals with a variety of different specialized master's programs. In the analytics space, we have the 3 programs: Applied Statistics and Decision Making, we have Business Analytics, and we have Marketing Intelligence. For the business technology area, we have the information technology degree. In finance, we have 2 programs: global finance and quantitative finance. In the management area, we have 3: a Master's of Science in Management, a Master's of Science in Media Management, and a Master's of Science in Strategic Marketing and Communications. And finally, in the professional services, we have 2 accounting-based programs: a professional accounting program and a professional taxation program. I think it's important to note that all of our programs are STEM designated programs, with the exception of the Masters of Science in Management and the Masters of Science in Strategic Marketing Communications. Next slide, please. While you are going to receive top-notch academic curriculum and rigorous and industry-leading curriculum in the classroom, we strongly believe in educating well-rounded leaders, graduating leaders who are going to go out into the community and do great things, whether that's in their company or in the communities in which they serve. Part of that well-rounded development is around leadership development. So a few years ago, we created the Gabelli Leadership Certification. Now it's called the Thoughtful Leadership Certification. It is a requirement for all students who are in our Masters of Science programs. They do this alongside their coursework, and it is comprised of a series of leadership assessments, leadership simulations, leadership coaching, and leadership networking. We know that you're going to graduate with really strong technical skills in one of these specific master's programs. We also know that employers that are looking to hire students in either internships or in full-time jobs, they're looking for strong communication skills and strong leadership skills. And this is our opportunity to make sure that you graduate with strong leadership skills. Next slide, please. We know that students who are pursuing graduate business degrees are really looking for a job. Of course, they're looking to develop a core skill set and knowledge and information in a particular area. But let's make no mistake, you're looking for an internship and you're looking for a job. We have a full-service career development office that supports the students in the graduate division of the business school. Here are a handful of the companies that are represented by the members of the career development staff. So they've worked at these companies over their lifetimes, and now they're taking the expertise from those companies and bringing it to the Gabelli School to share that expertise in helping the students attain their career goals and professional aspirations. And as you can see here, these are some of the world's top corporations. Next slide, please. Through the Career Development Office, there are a wide variety of ways to engage with them. There's one-on-one career advising. There are specialized workshops and group sessions. They have simulated interviews so that students can practice their interviewing skills. We have a really strong alumni networking program, and then we always have a series of spotlight speakers that actually come every Friday, and it's either one or two. Now in COVID, when everything is virtual, we actually have two speakers every Friday, and those speakers are from one of the Fortune 500 company usually, and they're an alum, and they are there to share insights and information about their career, the decisions that they've made to get to their career, and a little bit more about their company or organization. We do on-campus recruiting, company visits, and corporate information sessions. Prior to the current healthcare pandemic, this was done in person. Now it's all virtual. And I have to say, so I know that some students are a little skeptical about the virtual aspect of pursuing a degree, but we've actually had the opportunity to really increase our engagement with our corporate partners being virtual, because more students can go, and it's less of a burden for companies to come on campus. Even though many of these companies are right in New York City, it's an easier way to engage with a larger group of students. So we've actually enjoyed an increase in on-campus recruitment. Next slide, please. I mentioned earlier that students are interested in getting internships and jobs. Here are a few of the companies, a sample of the companies that students go to for their internships and their full-time jobs. As you can see, it's a wide variety of top global companies. Next slide, please. We are in the heart of New York City, right here in Manhattan, literally in the middle of New York City. There are almost 10,000 Gabelli School alumni in the New York tri-state area. The tri-state includes New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut. There are more than 40,000 alumni from the Gabelli School around the world. And then we have access to nearly 200,000 Fordham University alumni around the world. We recognize that in this current pandemic that's affecting everyone on the globe, that economies are feeling the pinch, they're feeling the pain. That is no different than it is here. New York it might be a little bit different in that the organizations here have the opportunity to weather these types of storms a little bit better than in other places. So with our graduating class of MS students last year, the majority of them either had an internship or a full-time job. So we didn't see a whole lot of negative impact of the shift in the economy. It's still a little too early to think about what employers are going to do for next year, but right now it seems that they're still interested in hiring graduate business students. Next slide, please. Well, we want you to come to school and really engage in the classroom. We also have an expectation that you're going to engage outside of the classroom, and that includes joining student clubs and organizations. So here's a quick sample of some of the student clubs and organizations at the Gabelli School. As you can see, there are clubs that are more career-focused, the Fordham Finance Society, the Management Consulting Association. There are industry-focused clubs, the media and entertainment industry. There are affinity groups, the Fordham Women in Business and the Black and Hispanic MBA Association, and there are specialized clubs like Net Impact. We also have a Chinese Business Student Association, and we also have special interest clubs that are around sports and other types of activities. We actually have a table tennis club, and we also have a wine club, so for those students that might be interested in wine. But we do have an expectation that you're engaged outside the classroom. If your thought is that you're coming to graduate school just to study and just to be in the classroom or the library, this is probably not the right place for you, because we have an expectation that you're going to get engaged. Next slide, please. Our application requirements are very similar to what you've already seen this evening. A resume, your transcripts, you have to get your transcripts evaluated. GMAT and GRE, some of our programs have waivers or a test optional. You can go to our website and see that for those test scores. We still do require the language competency exams, the TOEFL, the IELTS, the PTE, the Duolingo English test. All of these can be done at home. So you can definitely take advantage of that. Essays, recommendation letters, and then an admissions interview. Next slide, please. Here are our application deadlines. This is pretty cut and dry. It's pretty straightforward. As you can see, we offer a variety of deadlines for the fall term. That's what we're really talking about right now. You choose the deadline that you think is going to allow you to submit the best application. If you have any more questions about the deadlines, feel free to reach out to me directly. Next slide, please. Here's the information about our tuition. Again, pretty straightforward. You've got the tuition, you've got one-time fees, and then you've got ongoing or recurring semester fees. And all of this information can also be found on our website. Next slide, please. We do offer merit-based scholarships as well as a few other funding sources to help students fund their education. We have merit-based scholarships that are offered at the time of admissions. Those range from $15,000 to $35,000. We have graduate assistantships where you work with a faculty member or an administrative office. We partner with a few student loan companies, and then we have continuing student scholarships. Next slide, please. There are a wide variety of ways to engage with us virtually. Again, you could go to our website, go to our Chinese microsite, or connect with me on WeChat, and we can discuss if you're interested in finding a way to get involved. Next slide, please. Just a quick reminder of some of the things that we've done in response to COVID-19, test waivers. We've extended the deadline, a big investment in technology and instructional design, online courses, strict health and safety protocols, and then obviously on-campus density reduction. Next slide, please. Here's a list of all the contacts for the admissions office. They're associated with the specific programs. Next slide, please. And there is where we've reached the end of our little session this evening. There's our WeChat. So please feel free to reach out to us directly. And now I think we'll take some questions.
We can do our Q&A session. And,
okay.
How the student asked, how is the weather in there? Like, how is the weather in the university or city?
Well, right now it's raining. I mean, it's New York City, so there are definitely 4 seasons. You get a really defined summer. You get a really defined fall. Right now we're in fall, winter, and spring. So right now it's raining, and it's just started to shift over from fall weather into winter weather.
All right, cool. And okay, we do prepare some interesting questions for you, and we're gonna wait some other students ask other questions. So what schools' actions to COVID-19, like what students would do if all the language centers are closed in China?
Yeah, so as I mentioned in the presentation, nearly all of the language exams have an at-home version, and I know that there still are some issues with the ETS and the TOEFL, taking the TOEFL in China, but there still is the Duolingo English test. There's also the Pearson test for English and the IELTS, and they all have online versions, so you can take those at home. So those are the options or the alternatives, knowing that some of the testing centers are still closed.
Cool. And one student asked, how many Chinese students right now and during the COVID-19?
That's a good question. We brought in 705 students total. And I think from China, there might be 220 or so students.
All right. And how school career center will help students to find a job?
Yep. So if you go back on, when you go back and look at the slide for the Career Development Center, we do one-on-one advising. So each student is assigned a career advisor that's based on their program and their interest area. So if you are in one of the finance programs, you have the finance career advisor. So you work one-on-one. There are specialized workshops and seminars. You work with your student clubs and organizations. You work with your faculty. So really on the career side, you should think of this in 3 ways. 1, working with the faculty members. 2, working with the Career Development Center. And 3, working with the professional and the career clubs. So through the engaging and networking with those organizations, that's the strongest way to position yourself to be successful in the internship and full-time job search.
Okay. Thanks for a great answer. So that will be our free session today. Thanks so much for let us
Have
know
a good
more about
evening.
for them. Bye.
All right, bye-bye.
好了，非常感谢 Lawrence 老师为我们带来的精彩的分享。然后接下来呢，我们也要进入到最后一所学校的招生官来进行他的分享。他是来自 Wake Forest University 维克森林大学的招生官 John 老师。Let's welcome John. Hi, John.
Hello. Good evening.
Good evening. So you're good to go?
Okay, great. Just want to welcome everyone. Thank you for being in the session. Nice to meet you as well. My name is John White. I'm the Executive Director for Admissions for the 3 Specialized and Accelerated Master's Programs. If you want to go ahead and turn the slide. I want to talk a little bit about where we are in the United States. We are in Western North Carolina, which is off the Atlantic Ocean. We are about an hour and 10 minutes from Charlotte, North Carolina, which is the largest financial center outside of New York City. We're an hour and 20 minutes from Raleigh, which is the capital of North Carolina. You'll see that we have many green, beautiful, and bucolic spaces. The outdoors is a great part of Winston-Salem in North Carolina, and we are the home of Krispy Kreme donuts. You can turn the slide now. Here's some of our beautiful spaces, both at Wake Forest University on our main campus, and then on our downtown Innovation Quarter campus. Turn the slide, please. And this is the home of the School of Business. This is Farrell Hall. We service 850 students, which might not be large to some students on the call, but is very large to us. Part of why we only serve 850 students is because we really want to provide an intimate and engaged campus experience and supportive learning experience for students from all backgrounds and countries. You can turn now. So the 3 programs that I will quickly talk about this morning are the MSBA, the Master of Science in Business Analytics, which is STEM designated. All majors are welcome, but as a data science program, it is very quantitatively rigorous. The second program is the Master of Science in Accountancy, also STEM designated. This is also welcoming to all majors and has a CPA pathway. And the third is our Masters of Science in Management, which is for non-business majors. And it functions very much like the first year of an MBA program. And then it has an opportunity that within 5 years, you can return for the second year of your MBA. You can go ahead. Thank you. I talked a little bit about small, intimate student support experiences. The student is at the center of everything we do at Wake Forest. So you'll see in the upper left quadrant, that's my team, admissions. We're very much part of your experience during the application process and then the enrollment process. The upper right quadrant, you have program, faculty, and leadership. Sometimes it's a little bit different for international students at how engaged and accessible our faculty are to all students, and that's a hallmark of Wake Forest. The bottom left quadrant is Integrative Student Services. That is a staff member who is responsible for making sure every student in the program does well academically, as well as socially, mentally, mental health, especially in the time of the pandemic, and feels fully supported during their experience in the program. And the lower right quadrant, is Market Readiness and Employment. And that is our career services, our career coaches. You can turn the slide. Thank you. I'm going to talk first about the MS in Business Analytics. This is a very popular program with international students. We launched it in 2016. We're now in our 5th cohort. These programs, I should mention also, are 2 semesters, so usually 1 year immersive intensive programs. And we can turn the slide on this one. This is a quick snapshot of the class profile. Before I talk about the curriculum, you'll see it's a very diverse program, 74 different colleges and universities across the U.S. and across the globe. 50% of our students are female, 42% of our students are international. Most of our students do come from China, and then we have some students from India, other Southeast Asian countries, and then from Northern European countries. You'll see the class profile there. It is a competitive program with our GRE and GMAT scores. We have 37 unique majors. So I mentioned, while it is a quantitatively rigorous program, it's open to students of all majors and backgrounds. You can turn the slide, please. So this is the curriculum here, and the big difference, there's a lot of MSBA programs in the United States now. So many more have come into the space since we launched in 2016. But with us, the differentiator is that we feel we are truly intersecting a business professional with a data science professional. So you will see that a lot of your coursework is an integration of what you might expect to see in a business analytics program with programming, coding, data management, predictive analytics, but then you also have the business components as well, business metrics, forecasting, finance and risk analytics, and then of course all the analytics and software technologies. We primarily use R. We also teach SAS. We offer Python as well, SQL, and other programming coding languages you might expect. But again, for us, our goal in 10 months is to emerge a business person who's also immensely skilled with the data science piece of an MSBA. You can turn the slide, please. Careers. This is always a hot topic, especially for international students. We are still reporting our 2020 data for outcomes. This year has definitely been a challenge for everybody, students from all countries, regardless of the US or other countries, because of the pandemic and how the pandemic has affected employment. But you will see there, we have very successful employment outcomes. We offer full support, career support to all students, regardless of country of origin. So I'll keep moving. I just got the time. Let's go on next. Thank you. I'm going to move on to our accounting program, also STEM designated, so we can move slide. We offer, we'll pass this one as well since I'm running on time. We offer 3 tracks. We offer a tax track, an audit track, and we offer a track that's unique to Wake Forest called Financial Transaction Services. You can move the slide. Thank you. Here are the 3 tracks in the course are relevant. And I would say the biggest differentiator in this program is that we have more analytics in the MSA program than any other accounting program currently in the United States. You have 4 required courses in analytics, regardless of what track you decide to pursue. And you can turn slide, please. I shared the learning tracks. Here they are by class profile, the analytics curriculum. You can move ahead. And one more. So again, let's see. Perfect. Here are the 2 different 3-semester options. So students can do a 2-semester option or a 3-semester option. And I'm always happy to talk with students after this presentation to see which pathway might be the best for you. We can turn slide. This talks about fall employer recruiting under the 3-semester option, how you prepare to pursue the MSA, study for your CPA, and receive employment. Okay, next slide, please. This is an important slide. So again, I'm really proud to report on this program, class of 2020. So students that finished in May 2020, 100% of our students have employment in the United States now. You'll see that the big 4 here, Deloitte, KPMG, PwC, EY are all represented. A lot of students pursue public accounting. These are other national regional firms that hire. Wake Forest has the #1 CPA pass rate, 17 out of the last 20 years in the United States. So the big 4 often come to recruit actively at Wake, both our domestic and international students. If you go to the next slide. For students that don't pursue a public accounting pathway, we have many opportunities in investment banking, finance, and corporate accounting roles as well. And this program is as popular as the MSBA with our international students. You can move ahead. This just shows where our students go. Most, again, tend to stay in the U.S. despite them being perhaps from another country or seeking a visa. Next slide. We can just go through this really quick if you want to towards the end. This is the Emerson Management Program. I'll just talk through it as you click. It's the program for non-business majors, and it has a component to return in 5 years with your MBA. But then this is also a program that we have called the International Leaders Program, where international students can pursue the MSM in year 1. If you'll go advance several slides for me, we can just go through this one as well. Keep clicking, please. We'll go forward again. Go forward again. This is the International Leaders Program. So this is a 2-year pilot program we started where students from countries outside the U.S. can pursue the MSM, and then the second year pursue the MSBA, and in 2 years they graduate with 2 masters. And I'm assuming that will this slide deck be available to students after this session? And then we can just go to my contact slide. So here's some student leader profiles from the International Leaders Program. These are just some student organizations that students like to participate in. Here's the application process. I created a customized fee waiver code for anyone attending the call today. You can use Sunrise, and that allows you to bypass the $100 USD application fee. And then there's a QR code as well. And then on the next slide, my contact information is available. And there we go. And hopefully I got my characters correct. And I believe I'm just within time.
Okay, thanks for your great sharing, and that's awesome. And we do prepared some Q&A questions. So the first one we're gonna ask what are the things to do inside and outside of the campus?
Okay,
yeah.
Great question. So our city is about 500,000 people. So again, small, like mid-size by U.S. perspective, very small by Chinese perspective, right? We have a lot of good outdoor spaces. We have a very vibrant arts, music, and restaurant scene. It's very safe here. We have relatively low crime rates compared to other parts of the United States. The weather is really good. Our average temperature here in North Carolina is 70 degrees. We're in the southeast part of the U.S., so it tends to be warmer longer and get warmer early here. We do have some winter months. They're pretty brief, though.
All right, and I have one student already asked, like, is it safe to study at the States now?
Sure. Well, it depends where you are. So where we are, we currently, we have a pretty amazing COVID-19 tracking mechanism. I'm also personally on several pandemic planning and response groups. We have currently 166 active cases on the campus of about 8,000 students. They are all under quarantine in specific spaces. We have taken immense procedures and safety to keep our campus and students safe. You are not allowed on campus at this time without masking. If you are not masked, you will be asked to leave campus or leave class.
All right, and last question. And international students can get a job?
So that's a great question. So I talked about we offer full career services regardless of country of origin. You saw in the MSA program just in this past year, it was 100% employment. The other programs are usually between 95 and 100%. We work with all students regardless of country of origin to try and find a job in the US if that is your goal. If your goal is to find a job back in your home country or a third country, you and your career coach, and every student is matched with a coach one-to-one, you and your coach work together through the life cycle of the program or after graduation from the program to help you find that career outcome. We have been very successful with international students in securing employment in the US, especially in the analytics program and the accounting program. And then some students really like that hybrid MSM and MSBA program because they'll get the general management business degree in year one, and then they'll get that STEM designated degree in year two with MSBA. So hopefully that answered the question.
That's a great answer. Okay, so that will be our free session today. Thanks so much for bringing us these opportunities to learn more about Wake Forest. Have a great day.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye. 好了，亲爱的同学们，以上就是我们今天4所学校的分享。由于时间的原因呢，我们也没有办法和我们的招生官进行更深一层的交流与互动啊。同学们如果对某所学校感兴趣的话，也可以去及时下载我们的 PPT。好了，非常感谢同学们一路以来对我们的云展活动的支持与关注，让我们下期活动不见不散。各位晚安。